lame, you mad it.
I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to text me, should stick it in the boardroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to text me, should stick it in the boardroom. E-pop got me waiting 3 more hours. Stacking all these years higher than a tower. Having all these nodes feel like superpowers. Investing all this bread, never been a coward. Call me Mr. Bond, money in the vault. I stay in the farm, feeling like the goal. Don't worry about the haters, got the detonator. I'll kill in every market, call me Terminator. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. Me should stick it in the boardroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to text me should stick it in the boardroom.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ, I am the team lead here, and this is our twice weekly, I'm so used to saying daily, twice weekly live AMA, and today is a big one. A lot of you have been asking a ton of questions about Fusion, and we are going to get through all of those today. So it will be a long one. We're going to give some updates to begin with, before we literally do an hour or more of questions. But before we get to that, I'm joined by my co-host with the most and fellow team member, as well as a special guest. But first, LA, how are you?
I'm good. Good. Just got back from Austin and excited to be here with all of you.
Awesome. Good deal, LA. Sorry, can you guys hear me okay? I'm still
Yeah.
having some issues with the audio. But yeah, hopefully you can hear me on YouTube. If you can't, give me a thumbs up. Anyway, and then, all right, awesome. Glad to have you back. We'll talk about consensus in 1 minute, but I want to introduce our special guest as well. Cody, how are you, brother?
Doing well.
All right, awesome, my friend. A lot of you may remember Cody. He's been one of the main architects behind Fusion, so he's here to answer some questions as well. But before we get to some updates, and then obviously the hundreds of questions, it feels like, LA, tell us a little bit about consensus and how that went, and maybe any potential contacts that you made there. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was awesome. My favorite part was getting to connect with all of the amazing emperors that were there. Me and Cody hung out, got to spend lots of time with David and Old Man Crypto, got to meet Gene. We got to meet Machu and Chief from L1X, and we got to meet Jake from Dex Finance. Like, just so many great people were there, so that was awesome. I made lots of great contacts at the conference, and there were some great speakers as well. And everyone that I told AJ's story to was just so blown away, and lots of just exciting stuff. I'm a little brain dead at the moment. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I
Like,
just got
again,
home like an
yeah,
hour ago.
yeah, I
So.
know you're a bit jet lagged, so yeah, but no, that's what we were looking for. Again, I know, again, just getting to see people in person is a whole different element and makes crypto, even more real. We did have some meetings while we were out in consensus that LA was spearheading again, just to give some ideas, maybe a potential on an off-ramp solution. Obviously, we're partnering with Spritz, but they may be a while before they have an actual on-ramp. So we have a lot of stuff in the works, and it was great to just continue to network in some of the larger crypto events. So awesome. Well, good deal, LA. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and go over some updates and answer a few kind of overreaching questions, as well as give an overview of what detonate. I'm sorry, what fusion is. I'm brain dead today. LA. Holy cow. On what fusion is. So you know what? Let's go ahead and start with that. I think that will set the tone for today. Obviously, if you have not listened to our AMA from last week, I would highly recommend that you do that. It is about 2 hours long, so I know that is a bit much, but we go literally line by line in the whole white paper, and people that may have concerns. The number one thing is to educate yourself. So, as long as you read that white paper a few times, you should really have a better understanding of what we're moving towards. So, all right, let me pull up this graphic. All right, shout out to our VIP members. Someone in VIP actually helped us come up with this, and I think it does a great job of really giving a high-level overview of how Fusion will operate. So, give me one moment, and I will read through it. All right, so this is called the Fusion Flow, and really it just describes how this is all going to work, and then again we'll get into specific questions after the fact here. But the central grid is essentially the backbone of how Fusion operates, and there will be a phase in the next few weeks that's called the sacrifice phase, and we're trying to get this out ASAP. We have to educate the community before we can do a sacrifice. And I know a lot of people want, everything to happen now, but it's really hard to get everything accomplished and be good communicators and prepare everybody for what is going to happen and also do that in the fastest amount of time possible. So please be patient while we build and we continue to finalize and educate. But the thing you need to know is that there will be a sacrifice phase, and we're using that term for a very specific reason. Not only is it pretty standard in crypto, but it also has potential regulatory compliance behind it. So don't get scared by that word sacrifice. You're getting credit for everything that is applied. So you're going to sacrifice your EMP and or eShare into the central grid, and by doing that, again, that will translate into ownership of Fusion. So you will be awarded with a microgrid NFT that represents your ownership stake of the central grid based on your sacrifice amount. So rewards will then begin to accumulate upon Fusion's launch. So very similar to how the current farms work, where you are staking EMP ETH LP to earn eShare. The central grid is the same sort of principle, only it's automated for you and in a much more efficient manner. Where again, you're accumulating energy, which again is the illiquid version of eShare. And the whole process is just much simpler. And we've had a lot of people say, well, Fusion is a locked contract. Well, not really, because you're able to sell your microgrid at any time. So you can sell all of it, you can sell a portion of it, and we'll get into the specifics of that a little bit later. But this is not necessarily a locked contract or a sunk cost like a detonator or reactor or any of the detonator as a service contracts are. It's much different. So, all right, the other thing is that you can also buy energy or the currency of Fusion with eShare. So this is really important because it gives major use case to eShare, and eShare is the only tradable asset of the ecosystem in terms of, again, how the marketplace will work. And if you're not earning energy, then the only way is to buy energy, and you have to do that with eShare. So eShare has a really major use case in Fusion. So again, use energy to buy a battery NFT or multiple batteries from the marketplace. So batteries are essentially the cash out mechanism and the utility mechanism of the ecosystem as well. Batteries can be configured to collect or accumulate your daily energy rewards from the central grid and or claim those rewards into a battery. Batteries are optional. A user can let their rewards accumulate into their microgrid over time and then sell the microgrid or buy a battery and then just start claiming rewards. So there's many different ways that you can play the game, so to speak, and many different ways to profit from that as well. So, Cody, any or LA, anything you want me to elaborate on so far, or we good to keep going?
I just wanted to circle back to one thing that you told everybody at the beginning of this AMA, and that's to educate yourself, right? And I'm going to echo that because of all the different angles and strategies that could be done with this, there's not going to be only one way to play this game, right? And just because it works for somebody else might not work for your situation. So the best course of action is to truly hunker down and educate yourself on all the different options and how you can participate.
Absolutely. I know, again, it definitely is a lot to take in. This is not a fork of a different contract. This is brand new, DeFi built from the ground up. So again, it can be overwhelming. I get it. But the more that you read, the more that you listen, the more that you attend the AMAs, you will get it. I promise you. And once the light bulb does go off, which has happened to many people so far, they are like, wow, like Fusion really is something special, and we want all of you to realize that before sacrifice. So, all right, batteries also have specific properties, and the type of battery purchased will determine the following. So, you can have a reward battery or cash out battery that will complete what we're calling power cycles. So, again, that battery will fill up every day with those rewards, and once you hit a certain threshold, then they pay out. So again, that would be paid out in ETH, BNB, ESHARE, or other tokens. So again, that idea that's how you again profit in the ecosystem. Capacity. That would be the required reward capacity that must be reached for the battery to complete a power cycle. So again, this will be more of a utility-based NFT that will allow you to, maybe cash out a little sooner. Again, maybe you have a large battery and you're almost there to cashing out through one of those power cycles. There will be options to kind of get you over the line again without unfairly allowing you to profit too soon compared to other people. So, and then a last type of battery would be utility battery. So again, there's also utilities that can be triggered when the power cycle completes. One of those again would be the cash out, but also a deposit. I mean, imagine having a battery that allows you to deposit back into Detonator or Reactor or any of the DAAS services, or maybe we're running a pre-sale, and the only way to get an allocation of that token is through a deposit battery. I mean, that opens up a huge potential of projects wanting to partner with us and you getting, the absolute lowest prices on tokens through these sort of deposit batteries. And really, again, this is another way we can open up, and we'll talk about this in a minute. With this sort of a mechanism, we can actually accomplish the detonator auto compounder that again we've been working on. But as it sits right now, to have an auto compounder actually work, you would have to give somebody or a script access to your private keys. And we would never, ever, ever be on board for something like that. So there has to be ways that we do this not only that is healthy for the protocol, but it's also extremely safe for those of you that are using, that sort of a service. So again, we listen to all of you. I know everybody's been really wanting an auto compounder. It's not that we don't want to do it; it's that we have to do it in a very, safe and specific way. So hopefully that will help clear up some of those questions. I know we have a few of those as we go. So um, a few other things with the microgrid parameters is that you'll be able to decide which batteries activate and deactivate. So whether you're doing that manually or you set up, a schedule, you'll be able to activate or deactivate, which in turn, activated means that the rewards will collect in that battery. But if all the batteries are deactivated, then rewards will auto compound, which will increase your microgrid's overall ownership of the central grid. So again, it's that delicate balance. Obviously, you're welcome to cash out every single minute of every single day. But if you do that, that means other people that are compounding are getting a larger ownership. So, you're probably going to want to set up a strategy. Again, not financial advice, but maybe 1 week you claim and 1 week you compound. And whatever, all this will be on your dashboard, so you'll know, if you can keep up with the ownership of the whole pool. And again, this works very differently from detonator and pool ownership or detonator as a service because there's only so much EMP in existence, and so there's going to be this ever-changing ebb and flow of ownership as people cash out and cash in. Um, but we're getting away from the inflationary model of EMP and how it was through the original boardroom. So again, this is super bullish for the price of EMP and the circulating supply of EMP over time. So, all right. Anything, or let me just finish this section then. Decide how to distribute rewards. Again, maybe you have 3 different batteries. They can cycle where battery number 1 fills up first, battery number 2 fills up second, battery number 3 fills up third, and then that process recycles. Or you can choose to have your batteries fill up at the same time but split evenly. So there's also different ways you'll be able to determine how the batteries fill. So all right, anything that I mentioned that you again want to clarify or go over so far, LA or Cody?
Sounds good to me.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
LA, we on track?
I think we're on track, yeah.
All right, awesome. So, a few more bullet points here. How to claim rewards to your wallet. So this was a little bit of some questions we saw as well. Output batteries, again, the cash out batteries, will send rewards to your wallet when the power cycle completes. So a lot of you, again, just inside baseball, this is really powerful because you're not actually getting rewards until the power cycle completes. So this could be beneficial for tax purposes, for many other reasons that transaction fees, as long as you're having your batteries fill up, and that might be a reason why you want to have a larger battery or multiple batteries. Until that power cycle happens, you're not actually getting those rewards hitting your wallet. So again, just some more game theory involved in how you want to make that happen. So, all right, and then use accumulated microgrid energy to buy crypto, ETH, BNB, eShare in the marketplace. So again, you also have liquid energy that can be used to buy items in the marketplace. Now, we probably won't allow you to just buy ETH, a BNB, and eShare. That's still kind of a little bit up in the air. But as long as there's no exploit vectors with that, then I'm sure we can have options. The idea is that if you actually want crypto, that you're gonna use the batteries to cash out. But the marketplace itself, and this is another really important thing in terms of value to eShare, the marketplace will be like any other NFT marketplace. So we're hoping to compete, with OpenSea and NFTrade and all the different, marketplaces that are out there where, if you want to buy the NFT, either you have to have eShare that will then be converted into energy. You have to either earn energy to then spend in the marketplace, or you have to use a third asset. So again, imagine BNB, for example. BNB will be automatically converted into eShare and then used to buy that NFT off the market. And that will put massive, massive buying pressure on eShare. So again, that is a prime example of why we're saying that eShare has an insane amount of value and will have, again, buying pressure associated with it. So this marketplace could be extremely powerful. And Fusion benefits from that as a whole because as of right now, we have a 3%. Again, that percentage may change. That's why it's not in the white paper. But we're hoping to do a 3% marketplace fee, and that goes directly to rewards of those of you that are in Fusion. Again, we as a team, we're not taking a part of that. It would be just going directly back into rewards. So again, there's a lot of amazing price appreciation built in to the way this all operates. So, all right, additional boosts as well. Yeah, power ups and power packs. So a power up would be something you could buy with energy in the marketplace. Again, that was what I was speaking about earlier. Say your battery is almost ready to cycle, but you're not quite there yet. You can buy a power up to make your battery power cycle happen instantly. And then power packs, which basically just gives a boost on the amount of energy that you receive when converting your eShare. So again, a 5 eShare medium voltage power pack would get you actually 5.25 energy. So that's a 5% bonus. So, all right. Again, any other things you want to add to that, Cody or LA, before we wrap up this last part?
I'm good.
All right. All right. The planning strategy and other considerations. So, again, this is why we're doing these AMAs now. You have to consider which batteries to obtain based on the utility and the rewards, the microgrid parameter settings, how often you want to activate or deactivate your specific batteries to accumulate those rewards, or other compound to determine how to fill the batteries either all at once or sequentially, how to use or not use all of the power-ups and power packs, and again much more. So as you can see in that last paragraph there is a ton of game theory, and it's not about having smoke and mirrors or trying to overcomplicate things. It's really just about having a much more sustainable model that in the long run is actually easier to understand, and again, much more for people, much easier for people to grasp that may not be DeFi centric. So, all right, that is a great overview of the Fusion flow and a lot of really key points of why Fusion is bullish for the future. So, all right, LA or Cody, anything you want to add to that before we start getting into questions?
This is a really good job by the VIP group, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I was really impressed.
Yeah,
Shout out
killer.
to oh my gosh, I have to look up
Rock Monkey.
yeah. Yep, there you go. Thank you, LA. And Vino Mystic also did a great write-up as well. But this did a really good overview of it. So all right, awesome. All right, yeah, anything you want to add to that, Cody or LA?
No,
I was just going to say, before we go into questions, there's just a couple bullet points that I wanted us to go over as well.
Yeah, please do. So I'm gonna let LA kind of help me lead the conversation, both in what to cover and eventually reading questions. If you haven't already submitted your question, please do so on Discord. So this is what we're gonna do. I mean, obviously, you're more than welcome to leave it in the chat as well. But we have opened a specific channel on Discord that is for Fusion questions only, and we're going to be again dedicating the next few AMAs to literally answering every single question that may or may not come up. So if you want to have the best chances of having your question answered directly, please put it in that Discord uh, chat. If not, please put it in the YouTube chat or tag LA or I, and we can help you get to that. So, all right, LA,
And then
yep, good.
just a little forewarning. So I started with 8 questions from last week's or from Thursday's AMA, and then I've added all of the ones from the fusion questions and the AMA questions, and then other ones that I've just seen in the groups over the last few days. So we have a list of like over 40 questions. We're probably not going to get to all of them tonight because it would just take us the next like 6 hours. We're going to get through as many as we can tonight, but if we missed your question, we'll cover it on Thursday. I have a running list and I'll keep track of where we left off.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely, LA. And again, this is a fluid, process. So if we don't answer a question, it's not that we're doing that on purpose. Sorry for the background noise, guys. Oh, my daughter's having a fit today. But yeah, I mean, we're not doing it on purpose. We're simply trying to get all the info out as fast as possible while not trying to overwhelm all of you and still meet all of our deadlines. And that was another thing. There's been some frustration maybe that everything's taking so long. I mean, you have to understand we're moving as fast as humanly possible. So, we're trying to be good communicators. I think that we have been. I mean, EMP has never had an exploit. We've had 100% uptime. We've been building from day one. I mean, we operate very differently than 99% of other DeFi protocols. And if that means we have to wait a few more days, weeks, for this sort of stuff, I mean, that's what's got to happen. So, all right. And again, not to rant, just to give a little more background on where we're at here. So, all right. Did you want me to go over the last few things, LA, before the questions?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea since there's so many of them.
Okay, totally. So, again, I think everybody, and this is just feedback that we've had, through the other chats and really just doing a deep dive on what the community sentiment is. I think a lot of people may have gone too heavy into Detonator, and we're definitely not abandoning Detonator. If anything, I mean, all of these changes make Detonator and DAAS products even more powerful. Again, when I say detonator too, just for some clarity, I mean all of DAS products. So please understand that. That'll help me explain things a little bit better. But again, the point is that I think during the when detonator launched, I think people were excited. APRs were extremely high. People got greedy. But if you go back and listen to old AMAs, we never ever once said that you should be all in on Detonator. We said that Detonator was a great way to supplement your farms. Again, keyword being supplement, meaning if you were doing the, suggested claim compound strategy of 5-1, I'm sorry, 5-2 or 6-1, that you would actually have built an amazing LP position in the farms, and you would have earned way more ESHARE in the last 9 months, or a year now almost since Detonator has launched, than would ever have been your daily burst going down. So I know that people are frustrated. The whole idea is that we are trying to make some minor changes to get daily burst and pool balance going up. And once that happens, then I think that the incentives to go into Detonator and DAS products are already there. And so, again, that's all how we're doing. And Fusion acts very, very differently than Detonator. So, again, Detonator style contracts, they are locked contracts, and they're also called sunk cost contracts, meaning once your money is in there, the only way to get it out is through ROI. Well, in Fusion, you are able to sell your microgrid at any time, so it is not a sunk cost. And again, I mean, The other issue everybody was commenting on is, well, if you choose to sell part of your microgrid or all of it, there has to be a buyer on the other side. And that is 100% true. And again, we haven't made an official announcement on this, but we would absolutely be sweeping the floor and eventually may even make auto grid, selling your microgrid an automatic cash out, meaning you don't have to wait for a buyer, and it's something the Treasury would do because it's very beneficial for the Treasury to buy back parts of the central grid through microgrids because the less that we're having to pay out, that means the more not only the Treasury profits, but the more that all of you still in Fusion are making in terms of rewards. So all of that is in the works. We just can't put it all out on the table all at once. So please understand that that is an option. And again, I think it makes it way different than how Detonator works. And we're not paying out rewards in terms of a daily lottery or the large depositor prize, which can impact pool share and Detonator and Detonator style contracts. We don't have to worry about any of that with Fusion. It's simply a very simple ratio of how much you own of the central grid that will determine the percentage of rewards that you get from all the payouts. And again, not only will it be from energy rewards or ESHARE, just like you do now in the farms. Again, it's about 42 ETH. I'm sorry, 42 ESHARE a day that goes into those farms. So not only are you getting that, but now you're also getting any potential yield that our treasury is able to produce. You get, again, any of the rewards that we get from L1X and the L1X DEX. That can potentially be tens of thousands of dollars a day. And, I mean, our affiliate commissions. We just got an update from Spritz and YouTube. I mean, we've been doing about $2,000 a month in just affiliate commission. So all that is real revenue that is supporting Fusion, and that doesn't even include the marketplace fees. Again, 3% of all marketplace transactions going right back to paying all of the Fusion microgrid holders. I mean, we could talk some serious APR moving forward. So, Cody, you want to elaborate on that a little bit, or or LA? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the big thing you pointed out is that Fusion is completely different than the Detonator. And I think that a lot of people are trying to compare the two together, especially when it comes to the amount that they would basically be able to cash out. So, it is something totally different. We are kind of pioneering something new, and so I appreciate all the questions and things like that. And as we're kind of working to build out the white paper, it's helping us think of different ways to express what we're trying to accomplish here. And I feel like over time we'll be able to kind of separate the two in the long run and help people see that Fusion is more of a foundation that allows EMP as an ecosystem to scale way beyond where we're at by being able to have more flexibility with the treasury and with the bonus rewards and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. I completely agree, Cody. And, there is a lot of variables that until Sacrifice is live, we really can't answer. I mean, we're going to do everything we can. Again, we're giving exact formulas. We're going to be giving, as much as we can about battery costs. I mean, all the info that you guys want to know before Sacrifice, we're going to do. But in terms of actual APR distribution, that is something that we don't know until after Sacrifice happens, because that will be how many people are in the pool to then earn rewards. So you do have to understand it's a fluid process, like I mentioned at the top of the AMA today, and we're it's not that we haven't figured it out. It's that we're just trying to again give people this info in bite-sized chunks so they're not even more overwhelmed than they already are. So all right, I think that really does that help LA in terms of how this is different than Detonator?
For sure. And
Okay,
I mentioned this on the last AMA, but getting your head around fusion means reminding yourself to stop thinking about fusion like you do the existing protocol. It's going to take a little bit of wrapping your head around something that's brand new, because it truly is brand new and innovative, and it's not like anything that we have currently implemented. And so if we try to compare it to everything we have, it is going to feel uncomfortable and difficult to understand, because we're trying to understand it through the wrong lens almost. It's like you're wearing beer goggles or something. It's all blurry because you just need someone to come along and give you the right prescription, and it's a brand new prescription. So uh,
totally.
I'm not doing well with my
Well,
analogies here, but
Yeah,
well,
um,
no, I
it's
get it
not like it's not like we're waiting for things to drip or for pigs to fly, type of thing. It's
for
like this
sure.
is actually happening, and it's going to be very, very quick. It's not going to be held up for months and months. It's not going to be. I mean, I love how LA said it's nothing like the existing protocol, but even outside of that protocol, it's nothing that anybody's ever seen. And so you guys are definitely on the forefront, at the final frontier kind of thing, right? We're paving new streets down this path that we're headed. So
Yep, absolutely. So, and again, as we continue releasing more info, again, that we said all along, this is the white paper that we released last week is literally V1. I mean, we could be a V2, V3, V4, V4 before even the sacrifice phase. So we've already again started updating it. We rewrote a lot of the section about up EMP to make it easier to understand. The whole Q&A section will also be in there based on what we go over today. So again, just bear with us, have an open mind, and really just try to absorb all that we're doing. Because I think once again that light bulb goes off. I think people are really excited. Even in our VIP chat. I mean, granted, those people are eating, living, and breathing EMP, but they don't have any other additional info other than that white paper, and some of them have read it, 10, 20 times. The ones that get it in there, I wish I could share some of the comments about how better the system is, and I will. I mean, I can do screenshots that we share, but I think again, once that light bulb moment happens, you really understand how we're essentially eliminating cell pressure on EMP. We'll be able to maintain PEG what we feel is indefinitely. We put incredible buying pressure on eShare, and not only that, but could potentially, burn eShare once PEG is recovered and healthy. There's just it's just an amazing way of having an ecosystem that operates much more synergistically and is much more sustainable than seigniorage protocols typically are with high inflation. So, all right, a few more things, and then I promise we'll get to questions. Again, I mentioned it earlier about eShare, but eShare again is the only currency of the ecosystem, and yes, eShare is essentially energy. Energy is just the in-game version of eShare. So again, I know there's still some confusion about that, but you're either earning energy by having your microgrid, or you're converting eShare into energy and using it that way. So that's how energy and eShare play out. Again, what I mentioned earlier, there's different bonuses that you can have depending on how much eShare you want to turn into energy. And overall, through the marketplace, again, even if somebody uses BNB, ETH, or BUSD to buy an item on the marketplace, under the hood, that is automatically converted to eShare, which again, I can't stress enough the buying pressure that that will put on eShare. And yes, I mean, there will be selling pressure on eShare, especially when we're under peg. And that's how, algorithmic tokens are designed, is that you want to have your share token supporting the peg token. But all that will be done under the hood, and in a much more controlled manner where people are not just selling eShare and leaving the protocol. That any eShare that is sold goes directly to peg and supporting EMP. And again, that's a fundamental difference than how the boardroom operates now. Anybody in the boardroom, again, they stake eShare, they print a bunch of EMP, and then they can just sell it and move on. So this is no longer an issue in Fusion. So LA or Cody, again, anything you want to elaborate on that?
No, I think you explained it.
All right, awesome. All right, was that it, LA? Before we get into questions or anything else you wanted me to clarify?
Let me see. Yeah, I think that was it. Let's dive into some questions. How does that sound?
All right, perfect. Yep, I know we'll do a full, at least hopefully an hour here of questions. I know it's already 40 minutes in, but yeah, I think a lot of the questions will help clarify things. So, all
And
right, yep,
and
yep,
just to say, we are super open to questions. We're super open to constructive criticism always. But one thing we're not open to is being disrespected or bullied. And so we will put people in timeout if they're going to be jerks in the comments.
yeah, 100%. And again, FUD as well. I mean, there's a difference between having concerns and soft FUD, and there's another side of, simply trying to induce panic and, make people sell their bags. And again, if you're listening to somebody in the comments of a YouTube channel or, on a Telegram or Discord, if it all it takes for you to want to sell is for somebody to say something like that, then you're either overinvested or you're just not, a long-term participant in that ecosystem. And we've said from day one, EMP rewards those of you that have that long-term vision. Those are the people that are rewarded the most. And Fusion, again, just amplifies that in the way the ecosystem is designed. So, again, yeah, great disclaimer, LA, and we love constructive criticism. So if you have an issue, try to give an example of how you think we should fix it, rather than just say you guys suck. So all right, awesome.
Awesome.
I think it's worthwhile mentioning too that just like with the detonator, there's some things that are kind of kept in a black box, right? Because there's so many people out there that are in awe of the detonator that are trying to reverse engineer it. We're going to be in the same boat with Fusion. So if there's certain questions that we don't feel comfortable answering, please respect that, because that's what's going to keep this protocol live and on the forefront of the leading crypto project in DeFi.
Totally.
It's not that we don't want to answer it. It's our little black box, right? That we need to keep under the hood.
Yeah, no, great point, Cody, too. And again, once we have first mover advantage, and really, again, nobody can reverse engineer like they think they can. We've seen that already with Detonator, like Cody said. And we absolutely intend on releasing the software, to other protocols. I mean, again, whether it's a seniors protocol that wants to transition into a more sustainable model, or just a community that wants a way to earn in DeFi, Fusion would be a great, option for that. So, all right. Again,
I
sorry
just
for the
want to say
background
one
noise.
thing.
Yep.
I just want to say one thing before we hop into questions too. When I was at the conference over the weekend, someone asked me what makes your protocol different and better from other ones? And, what would you say that someone should watch out for when they're deciding whether or not to invest in a protocol? And I said, there's a few things that make our protocol a lot different and a lot better. And I won't name all the things that I said because it was a lengthy conversation, but two things that I said was we have the most incredible community in the world. They're always willing to help each other. We have a way more positive, uplifting, helpful, education-based place than anywhere else I've ever seen. And the other thing I said is that pay attention to the team, because we're always here showing up willing to answer your questions. And so I just want to ask one thing. When was the last time in life in general you tried to learn something brand new and you only had to read the instructions quickly one time and you just were immediately amazing at it and you were so professional you could go compete in the Olympics? It doesn't happen that way in life in general. And so if you're feeling a little bit confused right now, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, that's normal. That's the way things work in life. It just sometimes takes hearing something 3, 4, 5 times and asking questions to get comfortable with new things. When you first tried to ride a bike, when you first, tried to learn a new language, things take time sometimes. And I think that we're all such pros now at EMP and the protocol that we forget it actually was quite a learning curve at the beginning to figure out how it all worked. And we had to take the academy, and I remember feeling really overwhelmed to figuring out how Detonator worked at first. But so if you are feeling confused, just know, like, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be doing this every Monday, every Thursday. We're here for you. We've got your back, and this is going to be truly, truly mind-blowingly fucking amazing. And I am so excited about it. And I can't wait until everything opens up and you guys see everything we've been saying for months. Ugh.
Absolutely. I could not echo that more, LA. I think, and again, we're not here to convince anybody. Again, if you feel, you've been burned or you're not happy, and are not in it with us, then that's okay. But that just means all of us that are here get more and more. And that was one last point too. And then I promise we'll get to questions. Based on the white paper, you're getting credit for your EMP at peg value. So I know a lot of you were concerned about the recent bit of a sell-off. The market is down as well. But that being said, any time you can buy EMP on a dip, that's essentially free money in terms of sacrificing into more ownership. So just again to put it in perspective for all of you. So all right, and one more thing before we get started on the questions, everybody, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We have great viewership today, over 80 people. So please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So all right, now I promise we'll get to questions. Yeah.
All right. So we're starting with some from last week. So if you sacrifice and then later want to sell, who would buy your stake or NFT?
Yes, so as of right now, we are the rollout to begin with is going to be it will be available in the marketplace for anybody to buy it. So just like you would on any NFT marketplace. However, the idea is that as the treasury grows, and who knows, this may be something that we're able to do immediately. We just don't know again the daily volume that this could potentially require. But we as a treasury will sweep the floor on these NFTs, and eventually would move to an instantaneous transaction where if you sell 10% of your microgrid, you get that again BNB, ETH, whatever it might be, in your wallet immediately. So again, the concern about having liquidity or a buyer of your microgrid will become much less of an issue over time, and it behooves all of us in the protocol, you as an investor or the treasury, to buy back those microgrids anyway. Because again, not only would it increase your ownership if you're an investor, but for us as a treasury, that means that we have to pay out less, or we convert less. We convert more rewards for all of you that are in Fusion still. So again, just as an example, say there was a $10,000 worth of rewards split between 10,000 people or microgrid points per se. If half of those go away, that means the other half get double the reward. So again, there's many different ways to guarantee that liquidity. In the beginning, it might be a little tough, but as we grow, that exit opportunity will always be there for you. So does that answer that, LA?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there will be a process too. Again, I don't know if we're getting too in the weeds on this, but there will be a process where you're gonna have to basically unstake your microgrid or whatever part of the microgrid that you want to, and to sell it. And again, you won't be earning rewards when that happens. So, and again, that there's still some variables on the development side. But there, it may that what I said there may also not be the case because, like with Sentinels and Detonator Defenders, sometimes you can buy an NFT and it has residual rewards in it. So that's another thing. If you're putting your NFTs for sale, make sure that you claim the rewards before you sell them, or if they've been on the market for a while, take them off and put them back on. So, all right, yeah. Good. I think we covered that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so the next one is, will it be possible to move nodes from one address to another?
Yes. So, the short answer is no. But I think what somebody is getting at is, when we finally do allow, and this is another big thing that a lot of people have been asking about, and there's been some confusion on. We do eventually are considering allowing you to sell or sacrifice your node stake, as well as your detonator as a service position. So whether that's again Detonator Reactor or any DAAS product. So the reason that we're not doing that immediately right out the gate when sacrifice starts is that we don't want to unfairly dilute ownership, based on rewards that are owed. In other words, in nodes, with that 400% ROI, it would be really unfair to just give everybody that immediate ownership based on what they're owed. So we're still working all this out, but the short answer is that yes, you will eventually be able to sacrifice your positions, whether that is again nodes or DAS products, or outright sell those positions to whatever the market will bear. Again, those wouldn't be supplemented from the treasury. That would just be a capitalism, open free market. Whatever somebody would want to pay for those. But all that is definitely, in the roadmap of how we're going to roll this out. And so, to answer the question, again, after all that background, yeah, what you would do is you would essentially just buy the node or detonator as a service position from yourself. So, and that would allow you to transfer ownership or combine ownership in that situation. So, does that make sense? Hopefully, it did.
Yes, it did. Okay. With it, this is kind of a similar question. With DAAS, if you have multiple detonator wallets, instead of selling the position, will you be able to transfer detonator in order to consolidate wallets?
Yeah, so that basically is along the same line of what I just said. when that option is available, you would just use two different wallets to buy that from yourself. And then yeah, then you would be able to consolidate on whatever wallet you're buying it into. Um, so yeah,
Hey, can I just add something real quick? I'm just
absolutely.
watching some of the conversations going through here.
Yeah, Cody, for
Kind of
sure.
kind of going back up to where people are thinking that they have to list how fast will they get to be bought out, that kind of thing, if they decide they want to sell their NFT or a stake in one of the EMP products. Um, in the future, don't forget that there will be future iterations of this as we work through like the marketplace and things like that. That's the nice part about it. I am working on something right now. It's not fully flushed out quite yet, but there might be ways that, as AJ's kind of alluded to, with sweeps, with buybacks from the treasury, with various incentives or triggers like that. The main goal of what I'm trying to work on is just so that if anybody needs to get out immediately, they're not waiting for somebody to come buy their stake. So there will be potentially options down the road, but it won't be for MVP. This first go around, it will definitely be down the road.
For sure. Yes. All right. Awesome. We got another one, LA. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Once EMP is sacrificed into the central grid, does the value fluctuate based on ETH price, or once it goes in at a value, is it always worth that value?
Yeah, so this is a great question. The idea is that yeah, it will fluctuate based on each price. So again, there is this game theory of holding out per se, not only for a peg to recover, but for ETH price to go up. However, there will be a secondary multiplier. So there's essentially two multipliers at play. The first multiplier is the peg multiplier, meaning whatever you sacrifice is going to be at peg value 1 to 1. So again, based on today's prices, just rough estimate, that puts EMP at about 47 cents, I think. So you again, no matter what you buy EMP at, that's why this dip has been so attractive. You're getting credit at peg value, so it would be 47 cents. Now, if you sacrifice and ETH goes to 4 grand in 2 days, then anybody sacrificing there will get peg value at $1. So yeah, there is definitely some gamification there, but there's also a early sacrifice multiplier. So we're gonna have another multiplier, and again, all this will be added to the white paper with the exact ratios and values and the way we calculate it all that the equations involved. We just are trying to get info out as fast as we can and don't want to delay any further. So we said let's release what we have in the white paper, start this conversation going, and then we'll have all this right before sacrifice goes live. But there will be again another multiplier based on how early you sacrifice. So again, say you get a 2x multiplier in the first 24 hours on what you're sacrificing, that could be even more of a benefit than trying to wait for the price appreciation of ETH or PEG. So yeah, there's two things at play, and the easiest way to think of it is you want to sacrifice as much and as much and as early as possible. That will give you the most bonus from everything.
Awesome. Do you need a battery in order to withdraw from the microgrid?
Yes, so if you are looking to withdraw, you do need that. However, and again, batteries, we haven't released this yet, but batteries are not going to be ultra expensive. I think people are worried they're not going to be able to afford cash out batteries. And that's just simply not the case. Again, we'll give you more info when you can, but just understand, that we're not trying to design it that way. And to answer the question, you do have to have a battery to cash out, but if you don't want to do it that way and just let your auto compounder kick in, where you're gaining more and more ownership through your microgrid, which essentially makes your microgrid worth more, then you could sell a portion of that microgrid and cash out that way. But again, that will reduce your position. So there's multiple ways to quote unquote cash out, but a battery will be really important.
Awesome. Another battery question. How many batteries can you have on at the same moment?
Yeah, so I think as of right now, the UI is accounting for 4 batteries. So I don't think there will be a situation where you will need more than that, no matter what kind of strategy you want to run. If that is the case, then we can look into allowing more. But yeah, does that sound about right, Cody? I don't think we've done any testing of more than 4, and that should be enough for every strategy.
Yeah, anything more than 4 to 5, it just doesn't make sense. It takes a really long time to power cycle, and here's some alpha. The name of the game is to power cycle as often as you can.
Totally. No, I love that. And again, if it hasn't been made clear already, again, more alpha for those of you that stuck around to the hour mark. And I think I did mention this before. Um, but batteries will also be combinable. So again, maybe you want to have a larger power cycle. You would be able to combine batteries over the long run. So again, just understand the slots that you need are not as relevant as how big or how you utilize the batteries that you do have. So there you go, some more alpha. All right. Yep,
Wicked.
yep,
It pays to be on these AMAs, I'm telling you.
totally.
All right. So next question. When the 3% marketplace transaction fees get distributed to investors, do they get distributed as straight energy rewards, or is it something that's added to their central grid position?
Yes, so great question. Again, it will all be an energy, which again is another amazing buying pressure on eShare. Again, you're getting rewards in energy, so it's not like you're getting rewards in ETH or BNB or whatever it is. You can cash out in any asset that you want through the cash out batteries, but under the hood all of this is buying pressure on eShare or energy. So yeah, just to drive home the fact that eShare gets a lot of love and all this. But yeah, so the idea is that it will be distributed through the central grid. So again, we don't want to be in a situation where we reward a ton of liquid energy because that can open up some exploit potential. But again, I mean, you're not losing that value because even if you don't have a battery, the energy just is going right to making your microgrid even bigger. And again, that means more rewards. And if you want to sell part of it, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, go ahead, Cody. You can probably explain that a little bit better than I can. But
In terms of, sorry, somebody pinged me. I was answering a quick question. What was
yeah,
the
no
question again?
problem. Yeah, so go ahead, Ella. You want to ask it one more time? And Cody can just elaborate.
So when the 3% marketplace transaction fees get distributed to investors, do they get distributed as straight energy rewards, or is it something that's added to their central grid position?
This is the nice part about that 3% is that it can be, yes, in the form of energy. It could be the form of a lot of different things. You've heard me say this before, but the world's our oyster when it comes to that kind of thing. And it really gives us a lot of buy power to kind of do a lot of different things with it. So I know that's still kind of broad and vague, but really it's just designed to wherever we need it, however we need it. If it's going and buying EMP directly off of the open market, we could do something like that, right? If it's buying, in an essence, people's staked NFT that they want to just get out, they want to stake it, maybe it goes to buy that. It's just really, it's a lever mechanism that we have set in place. It's kind of that black box stuff that we've been talking about that allows us just to kind of keep everything flowing and add support where we need to.
Totally. And again, to what I was saying, I mean, the idea is that we want to keep it in the ecosystem. So whether it's directly through the central grid, so that we don't have a lot of liquid energy being distributed to microgrids. Again, all your energy rewards come from the central grid anyway. But to Cody's point, yeah, I mean, that is another beautiful part. When I say that you're getting rewards distributed to you through fusion, I mean that 100% with energy, but there will also be situations where we divert some of that to where the ecosystem needs it. And that isn't, again, I think people get confused that means it's a liquidity leak in the ecosystem, but it's not. That means all the value generated in fusion stays in the ecosystem. So you're not having, like, again, to give you an example, the way the boardroom works now, anybody can just put eShare in the boardroom, they get EMP, then they can dump EMP and sell their eShare, and that is a massive amount of value that's exiting the ecosystem. With Fusion, the only way to exit the ecosystem, again, is through batteries or through selling a part of your microgrid. Other than that, it's pure rewards. So, again, I think it's a much better distribution model, and it takes care of all the potential gaps as well. Because I know, again, a lot of people, and we haven't made an official announcement on this. We definitely have not said no. We haven't said yes either, but we haven't said no. I mean, there may be a situation where we do supplement Detonator or Detonator as a service contracts, especially if that will help, jumpstart the ecosystem and those pool balances going up again. So all parts of the ecosystem are not being abandoned or put on the ice, so to speak. We're just gonna have to play it by ear and really evaluate where things are at. So yeah, hopefully that helps explain that.
Awesome. Is there a limit to the number of power cycles a single battery can go through in a single 24-hour period?
Cody, do you want to answer that, or you want me to? Go ahead.
You can start, and then I'll fill the gap.
All right. So yeah, the idea is that there won't be a cap on how many times you can cycle, but it is just determined on how much energy is released. So again, this will be variable on whether you have a small battery or a larger battery, whether you've implemented, any of those power-ups to cycle a little bit faster. So there's a lot of variables at play to answer that. But no, there's nothing hard-coded, that says you can only cycle once every 24 hours. It just is going to depend on that energy accumulation. And I think, again, just based on some of the models that we've run, unless you're a whale, or have a huge position, you're probably going to be doing power cycles every few days, not once a day. So, yeah, anything you want to add to that, Cody?
Yeah, and AJ keeps mentioning the size of your battery, and what he's referring to is the capacity that the battery could hold.
Yes,
right?
Thank you, Cody.
There's a certain limitation. And he dropped some alpha, which I think we've already disclosed before, but with EMP with fusion in the future, with the batteries coming out, you'll be able to purchase multiples of the same battery and combine them together, similar like you do in Splinterlands, like where you combine them all together to get higher, power, more utilities, that kind of thing. That'll be in the future as well, and so that can also determine how often you power cycle. Because if you're only making 20, 30, $50 a day or something like that from your energy that you're receiving from the central grid, and you've just maxed out like an ETH battery to its full capacity, and let's just say, for an example, it's like $2,000 that you have to fill. That's going to be quite a few days before you actually fill that battery to its capacity. So there again is more game strategy. So you don't want to grow or upgrade your batteries as quickly as you can. You kind of want to take that in stride with as your share of the grid keeps growing. That's when you'll want to determine if it's time to upgrade your battery or not. So a lot of variables in it, but technically there is no limit to how many times you can power cycle.
Cool. Yep, agreed. All right, awesome. Again, we're getting there, guys and gals. I mean, this is just what we have to do. We have to go over it question by question. Hopefully, we've made some headway. If you are listening to the recording, or if you're live with us now, let us know if you've gotten some more, good explanations of what future will be so far. So, all right, let's keep going, LA. I mean, we can do at least another half an hour. So, yeah.
Okay. We're almost through the questions from last week.
Okay, perfect.
Then we could start the ones on the actual threads on Discord. Okay, so what happens to your energy if you sacrifice to the microgrid, but then don't use it immediately to buy something? Will it be used by the system to BBE, or will it stay there in the microgrid for you as marketplace credits for when you're ready to buy a battery or something?
Yeah, so this is a good question. This is something we've still been going back and forth with the devs on. But the idea is that you will be able to have, like a reserve, meaning, marketplace points that, or energy. Again, we use some similar terms for similar things. So I apologize. I got to get better about that and make it very clear and concise. But when I say marketplace points, I mean energy. But yeah, the idea is that there may be some sort of a reserve mechanism that you can allocate, just to having in your microgrid that will allow you to spend in the marketplace and not be used with the BBE. So again, this is some fine granular details that we're ironing out, especially as we're underway testing. I mean, like I've said all along, the dev team, Jake, and everybody at Avant-Garde that we brought on, I mean, they've been killing it, and the back end is really a lot done. We're starting to go into some final testing. The UI is what's left, but the sacrifice phase, again, could be here sooner than later, for sure. So, all right, yeah, hopefully that answers again. Cody, if you want to add to that, or LA, was that enough of an answer? I don't know if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I think that was a good answer for sure. How will fusion affect the detonator pool balance and therefore daily burst?
Yes, so this is good. I'm glad we're getting into this part, because this has been a lot of the questions. So let me back up a little bit and kind of just give the high-level overview of why we're doing what we're doing, and then how that will apply to the question. So the idea is that with Detonator, and again, when I say Detonator, I mean all Detonator as a service contracts. It's just easier for me to say Detonator. So when Detonator launched, obviously, there was some hype around it. The pool balance was growing. All the incentives were aligned. The market was looking pretty healthy. And then as time went on, not only did the market go down, but the volume in Detonator was decreasing as well. And unfortunately, again, just by design, these contracts rely on volume. And so the whole idea with what we're doing in Fusion and integrating Detonator or DAAS into Fusion is that we're basically limiting the drain on those contracts without handcuffing your ability to earn. So there's a really big difference there. I mean, a lot of other protocols just put in giant taxes and say, oh well, and then you just have to live with it. I mean, we don't want to do it that way. We want to still allow you to potentially cash out of Detonator or DOS products, but do it in a way that is much healthier to the ecosystem. So, I mean, the idea is that we're stopping the bleeding, so to speak, on claimers in DOS, and then the incentives of again that lottery prize, the largest depositor, the win it now button, all those incentives that they're already there. I mean, that is what gets people to go into those contracts, and I think the only hesitation right now for people is that they see their daily burst going down and down and down, and nobody wants to get involved in a contract that just goes down and down. So once we hit the floor, which I think we're really close, if not already there, and through these mechanisms of fusion, the idea is that we do move in the other direction. The pool balances start to increase in all DOS products, and therefore daily burst starts going up. And again, just like you could see on a chart, when the coin starts going up, that's when people start getting excited about it again. And so, that is all part of the overall thought process behind what we're doing. And again, that doesn't even include Detonator V3. So after Fusion is up and running, we'll have even more rules that go into play for people that want to claim more than compound. Again, compounding is not really a thing anymore because of fusion, but and reduced rewards. I think once all of that happens, then DOS will be very healthy and again allow for a whole nother cycle of new volume into those. And again, I mean, it is a cycle, just like markets are. Those contracts are very cyclical. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Everything operates on a cycle. So, yeah, hopefully that answers. And that doesn't even include the price of PEG. So as PEG starts going up, that means that your LP value goes up. And those of you that, again, have had the problem of not having enough rewards to even compound. Hopefully, with the price of PEG and the price of ETH going up, that will make it more lucrative to compound or go more, again, having more value out of your LP that is going into Fusion from DOS products. So hopefully that answers that again, Cody. I don't know if you want to elaborate on any of that or LA, if there's something specific we should dive into.
No, the only other thing I would add to that is I think once Fusion gets live and everybody can grab the concept of what it is and how it performs, I think a lot of people are going to be rethinking other EMP products and strategies and how they will be able to leverage them to grow exponentially.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely, Cody. Again, I know I'm sure we're gonna get a question here eventually about up EMP. But yeah, I mean that would be another again. We're saying a lot of the original contracts are going to be legacy contracts. That doesn't mean they're retired. It doesn't mean that they're again being put on the back burner. Um, it's just part of our old, ecosystem. So yeah, all of those could have a new day in the sun, so to speak, once Fusion is firing on all cylinders.
All right. Here's an exciting one. Will there be a way to see our ranking in the central grid?
I love this. So yeah, literally, that was part of our developer chat last night, and the answer is yes. And not only will you be able to see that information in your microgrid, in the dashboard, and maybe even some sort of a leaderboard as well. I know a lot of people want to be, top 20 microgrid owners. I think that would be a really awesome little friendly competition. But we're also going to try to apply this during sacrifice. So you'll be able to see, you know, how fast and how much other people are sacrificing, which will give you a better idea of how much more or less you need to sacrifice to keep up with it. So yeah, the answer is yes, and that will be a big part of, not only sacrifice but fusion overall.
Wicked. Okay, let's take a tiny break on the written questions and bring Aaron up to ask one.
What's
All
up,
right,
LA?
Aaron, what's up,
What's up,
brother?
Adrian?
How are you, man? Oh, can you hear me?
Aaron, do you have a question?
Oh, I think we lost him. I heard him for a minute. Did you hear him, LA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. All right, we'll come back around to you, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron, if you want to leave and come back, we'll bring you back up. But
All right, so the Sentinel Squadron NFTs are a joint partnership with MDB. The rewards raised from these NFT purchases, half ESHARE and half MDB. Will the rewards still be used to buy ESHARE and MDB and then resold to purchase EMP to put into the central grid? It seems like a lot of transactions and will lower what we ultimately receive. Will we be receiving less than we currently receive on NFTs, which are fed into the central grid, or how will this work?
yeah, so again, a lot of this is still to be determined what happens under the hood. For owners of those, again, you're all the LP is still going, or eShare again in this case, eShare and MDB, all of that is still going to the treasury, and you're getting credit based on, that dollar value. So to answer the first part of that question, I don't envision it being any less because the transactions, there really isn't more transactions. And really, if anything, you may actually be getting more because people aren't selling eShare and MDB after every, claim. And so that answers that. And then the second part of that was, you know, yeah, I mean, there will be an MDB battery, so you can still get out MDB. And again, the idea is that we'll facilitate that through the treasury. If we don't have to sell MDB, we're not going to purposely sell MDB. So, and again, that just makes it efficient in terms of distributing the rewards. But yeah, I mean, again, it shouldn't be much different to the user. You just have to go through, one extra step in earning energy to then cash out into MDB or eShare or whatever, or both. Again, you could have an eShare battery and an MDB battery that that splits evenly, and that would fill up just the same, as if you were claiming your Sentinel every day. So, and again, I mean, this is all part of the process. Like, we were trying to come up with fair solutions based on moving into a whole new model. And again, because Sentinel, relies on that sort of a mechanism, I mean, we only have so many things that we can do. So this was a great compromise that really doesn't negatively affect anybody. And really, MDB had the best part of that deal anyway, because that was a ton of buying pressure on MDB this entire time. So, yeah. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all, Cody, but
No, I think you hit it home. It's just like we want to make sure that with any of these legacy products that they still kind of have the same experience, and that we're just handling a lot of things under the hood that will make it happen.
Totally. And again,
Awesome.
yeah, all right, go ahead. Yep, sorry, yep.
Can you go into a little breakdown on nodes and how Fusion's going to affect their APR? Because there's quite a few questions on that, whether it'll increase or decrease the APRs and how all that's going to work.
Yes, so nodes, again, the idea is that we're removing all the potential selling pressure that nodes have, but still being fair in the value that we're crediting. So the way it's going to work now is that, all your node rewards are automatically put into the central grid, which gives you more ownership through your microgrid, and it's just depending on again, how much EMP the nodes that you have produced. Now, over time, the whole idea originally with nodes was that part of the inflation of EMP through the boardroom is actually used to supplement nodes. Um, because we're not looking to emit any new EMP, this is going to work a little differently, but I think that that ultimate plan again is to allow people to sacrifice their nodes, where we would essentially uh, 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 deduct whatever rewards have already been paid out in your nodes. We would deduct that from your max payout, and then that would be what you would be able to sacrifice. Now, the reason that we're not allowing this again right off the bat is that we don't want to unfairly again give a larger ownership to node holders, and dilute everybody else. But over time, I think this would be a great way to eventually even get rid of nodes where everybody is made whole over time, and it's not a negative impact to the entire ecosystem. So nodes are going to be again something that we address as we go. But in the short term, you know, you're still able to get credit. You're still able to get nodes APRs. Really, and that was one last point I want to make. The APR on nodes is very, very misleading because you're getting your sacrifice uh, credit at peg value. So the APR on nodes really is about 2.5 times higher than what it displays because it calculates APR based on market price. But again, if you're sacrificing your EMP at 50 cents, that APR is way, way higher than what it shows. So, again, please try to have an open mind and things aren't as they may seem because we have to transition into Fusion and we don't want to take even more development time, trying to fix UIs and everything else in the short term.
Well said. All right. Will good behavior be taken into account with Fusion? For example, someone who has nodes, bonds, NFTs, farms, etc., and has never sold EMP.
Yeah, so the beautiful part about our ecosystem, even as it was, is that good actors are already, accounted for. Meaning, if you've been a quote unquote good actor this whole time, you have a ton of essentially free ESHARE that you've been able to accumulate. You have a ton of EMP that you've been DCAing into, over all the dips. And you're one of the first people to hear about sacrifice, which means, you're going to be getting in at the highest possible multiplier there is before we do a large marketing campaign around Fusion. And again, just real fast on that point, the marketing and all the new users, that will happen when Fusion is up and running, which means they're buying into EMP at peg. at that point. And that is massive because all of you that are in it for the long run are getting a great head start, an unbelievable head start, really. However, it won't negatively impact, returns because all that new volume directly results in revenue for the protocol. So again, it's such a great system that we're designing, and it's as fair as it can be, while giving the advantage to the good actors and the loyal people that have been with EMP from the beginning. So and again, just one more point with that. Um, uh, you know, there is no more good and bad actors after Fusion is live. The idea is that even if you wanted to harm the protocol and sell every single day, or get battery cycles to happen as fast as possible, and just claim out as fast as you can, that never ever ever hurts EMP and PEG, and it only hurts you because the more you claim, the less ownership you will have over time. So yeah, again, hopefully all that answers why good actors are being looked after. But yeah, I don't know any other thing you want to add. Go ahead.
I mean, this is something we still have to discuss, obviously. Actually, no, I won't bring that up today. Never mind.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to tease you there, but um,
She almost dropped alpha. Oh
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
um, how will eShares maintain or even raise in price if they continue to be sold for energy in the market?
Yeah, so we went over that multiple times earlier today. So please go back and listen to this AMA. But literally all the buying pressure um on the marketplace is converted to eShare under the hood. And once we're back at PEG, then we don't need to supplement, selling some eShare to help PEG. And so once that happens, and again, we get through all the volatility of people that just want to exit EMP. We let them sell, and they can only sell once. Um, all after all that's over with, then EMP becomes bulletproof, and then we can even start burning eShare. If that's what people want. Again, we have plans on having governance batteries as well. So maybe you want to have a decision a say in the decision process. That would be a way, that for a month, instead of, distributing eShare rewards through, again, more energy to the central grid, maybe we just burn all that eShare instead. So there's a lot of different ways that we can, continue to add value to eShare. I mean, again, I don't know if anything, it's more value because really eShare was just speculative value with the boardroom. I mean, when the boardroom was printing, it was about, I think at the height, it was about 3% a day. But then, that as soon as we went back below peg, then now it's not worth anything or printing any EMP. So this is a much better, long-term payout in terms of eShare, which will give eShare value over time. And I also mentioned Metcalfe's law. That's a law that is proven that the larger the network, the more value the currency has. And if eShare and energy are the only currency in the entire ecosystem that's actually being transacted, I mean, that gives, again, amazing use case to eShare. And there also is a lot of discussion. I'm happy to have any of the VIP members post this in general, but I think nobody realizes this, but there is a lot less eShare in circulation than people think. I mean, yes, eShare is inflationary and has a happening model, but even at the end of a 10-year, emission schedule, we will have way less than 100,000 eShare in circulation, and by then we could be burning way more ESHARE than what's being emitted, where ESHARE becomes deflationary. And, again, I think that is just something people are totally oblivious to, that could be massive for the upside potential.
Amazing. Next question. Can you purchase a battery without a power pack?
Yes, so a power pack is just again allowing you to kind of inject or get ahead of the game a little bit, so to speak. But you could earn energy and let that accumulate. And well, actually, let me take that back. Did they ask about buying a battery with energy? Ask that question one more time. Sorry, LA.
Can you purchase a battery without a power pack?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question now that I really am understanding what they're asking. Cody, that might be a better one for you. Yeah, I mean, technically, if they're only earning energy through the microgrid and they don't have a battery, then that would be auto compounded. So maybe we do need to have a function that allows them to accumulate just liquid energy, maybe. So yeah,
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 we do. So
okay, yeah,
basically, what it is they just use stablecoin, Ethereum, BNB, that type of thing to purchase it
okay.
directly from the marketplace.
All right, so there you go. That'll be, and again, once the UI is out, that'll be a little bit easier to visualize. Again, we teased. There is an example of the UI in some other AMAs, but we'll make sure that we add that to the white paper when Fusion is actually ready to roll. But yeah, there will be options. Thanks for clarifying, Cody.
Yep, no problem.
All right, we have
Awesome.
time for maybe two more, LA, and then we can again. I mean, we're gonna be taking questions um, for as long as we need to over the next AMA. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to answer this next one because it's super easy and quick. Will prices of batteries, power-ups, etc. be released before Fusion starts? Yes.
Yes, 100%. Yep, we're finalizing all those details now, and yeah, 100%. That will be out before sacrifice.
Okay, so the next question is about sacrificing LPs. So I'd like to get some more clarity on the LP sacrifice. With Fusion, you're sacrificing the whole LP. So you're selling your ETH for EMP to stake in the central grid. What if you bought ETH in the early days of EMP? Can you just go into the how it works with sacrificing your LP?
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, this is a good question. I think I remember this on Discord. And yeah, I want to do a deep dive on this real fast. So yeah, I mean, yes, you're sacrificing your LP, but you're getting the value as if we were at peg. So the only downside, quote unquote, is that ETH has gone down anyway. So even if you're holding ETH in your wallet, you would still have experienced that same downturn. If you created LP at $4,000 per ETH, then obviously it's 2,000 now, so it will be lower. However, you're not really experiencing the impermanent loss because we're giving you that bonus of being at peg. So again, hopefully I explained that right, because that's really important to understand that you really have no potential added downside as if you were just holding that Ethereum in your wallet. Because I think people are concerned, they were good after they added the LP, and now they're going to get screwed because they have less Ethereum. Well, as long as you're sacrificing, then you're getting at peg value. So it is the same exact value as if you were to just have held that ETH, in your wallet, and you haven't earned anything in the meantime. Again, if you're providing LP, you're getting ESHARE every day. And that's the whole point of a seigniorage model, is that any volatility of pairing up your, ETH or blue chip asset to the PEG token, any of that volatility is compensated for through the share token. So again, you're profiting in shares and rewarded in shares for doing that. So again, I don't want people to misconstrue, that they're getting screwed. If anything, you're getting equivalent value because of the way we're doing sacrifice. And then the other part of that question, which I think you didn't even ask, but I remember this question is what we're gonna do with the other half of that LP. Was that the next part, LA?
Um, sorry, it's really long, so I was trying to paraphrase.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, you might as well go into that because a few of the questions asked that.
All right, so yeah, I mean, we haven't made an official statement on this yet, but I think again, everybody can put two and two together. Any of the LP that is sacrificed, the idea is that we are absolutely going to use at least some of that to buy EMP. I mean, that would be the most logical step, not only for us as a protocol, but the ability to recover PEG. Now, it won't happen all at once. I'm sure we get front run by people trying to swing trade, but realize if we do that, they can only sell once. Even now, again, if you've been watching the charts, we had somebody buy about $150,000 of EMP about 2 weeks ago when we were really starting to hype up the white paper. And I truly believe that was a swing trader. And they were waiting for the white paper to launch, and then that's when they were going to cash out. Well, now they're selling, and so again, they're selling at a loss as well for what they bought in it. Which we talk about FUD a lot, but don't let people give you a narrative that they want you to believe, like that the white paper was out, everybody's disappointed in what's going to happen, and now they're all selling. I mean, it's literally one wallet that's been dumping, and that's just because they're trying to play that volatility. And with EMP fusion, we're not going to be susceptible to this sort of, you know, uh, uh, bad acting. Again, I try not to say that word, but we're not going to be susceptible to swing traders. So, let them sell, let them do what they have to do. We use the ETH from the LP to support PEG. And then, again, remember, we're buying EMP off the market with that. That's going to the treasury, which will never be sold. So let that sink in for a minute. That the EMP that we own, again, we either sell above peg when we need more new users instead of having to inflate EMP, or we just hold it, which is essentially a burn. I mean, that alone could take like 10 million EMP or more out of circulation. Again, Vino did an amazing job on this, so I don't know if Vino's going to join us, but we'll post his breakdown in the general chat. But there's a lot less EMP that's going to be in circulation too. And all the while as well, we're going to be reducing our liquidity. So you've heard me mention this on other AMAs. Deep liquidity is amazing, and it's what really has helped EMP become what it is. But there comes a point where you have too much liquidity, and with that much liquidity, it is so hard to move peg up because you have again too much liquidity to rebalance on the way the AMM works. So by having people sacrifice LP and then we break that LP, not only is that more buying pressure on EMP, but now it's less liquidity that we have to fight through to get back to peg. So when we say that peg is inevitable, these are all the reasons why. It's not just something that we are putting out there as a hope or a dream. We have actual math that is backing up what we're saying. So again, that is why we are encouraging all of this, and you're getting that peg value on your LP along with the early sacrifice bonus. So it would be a no-brainer to sacrifice your LP directly in to get the most value. So, all right, sorry, I know it was a lot, but I think that was a really good overview. LA, anything on that, or Cody that we want to
Well, I think you just
say?
gave everybody a good insight as to what that black box that we were referring to kind of looks like on
For
the
sure.
inside of it, right? There are a lot more levers and mechanisms that we have built into place for this to basically make it very rewarding, very sustainable. And AJ just shared a massive one with you guys.
There you go, right on, Cody. I'm fired, man. I know there was some alpha probably, but again, I mean, I think that you guys, if you're paying attention, you can put the pieces together. And so yeah, and to Cody's point, I mean, what I just said is about 10% of all the mechanisms that are happening under the hood, that are actually going to make everything that we're saying, actually happen. Because again, I know somebody in Discord was saying, typical DeFi project of just promises that never happen. Well, I can tell you at EMP, every promise that we have made has happened, and a lot of other DeFi protocols can't say that. And so, we have actual mechanisms, again, math, that are going to accomplish what we want them to over the long run. So. All right, that was massive. Hopefully, again, I know it's an hour and 45 minutes in, but hopefully somebody can make some notes on that for anybody that wants to potentially FUD about where we're going with Fusion. So,
Killer. Love it. How many more do you want to do?
yeah, we can do two more.
Okay, one that I'm going to skip down a bit because one that I really want you to do is bonds. I want you to clear some stuff up on bonds. There's a bunch of different questions, so I'm just going to give a synopsis of them. So once the sacrifice goes live, do people still have the ability to claim bonds? Should we go over peg? What is the deal there between sacrifice launching but fusion not launching yet? And then can you go into explaining why this is actually rewarding them way more right now than waiting for a 1.1 that may or may not have ever happened should we kept everything the same?
Yes, perfect, LA. I love it. You pretty much answered. I'll let you do this one, but no, you can elaborate if I don't get into it. But yeah, I mean, the bond mechanism now, the way we have it set up is even more appealing. And so the number one issue with bonds um, is that people buy bonds, but unless you get back to that 1.1 peg to be able to redeem bonds, they become pretty much useless. And unfortunately, with a lot of other seniors protocols, all those bonds are in the fiery depths of hell now with no value because the protocol never recovered. Well, with the way we're rolling out bonds, you probably will never get your multiplier bonus in terms of being able to redeem over 1.1 because the idea is that with Fusion, we're going to keep a very tight range of, say, like 1.01 to 0.999, like that the peg is going to be very tight. So I don't really envision us getting above 1.1 because we also don't want to print more EMP either. So you're not able to claim with that bonus. However, to LA's point, you're getting even more value out of it because you're able to sacrifice your bonds immediately into Fusion and get it at peg value. So you're essentially redeeming your bonds at peg value, which is unheard of. So, yeah, I mean, the value is still there. Even if you bought bonds, low or right below peg, when we were just starting to print bonds, you're still ahead of the game because you're getting them again, over that value. And if you sacrifice your bonds early, then you get that other, again, early sacrifice bonus. So it could be, again, way above dollar value of what you actually paid for those bonds. So yeah, does that help, LA? Again, happy to have you elaborate on that too.
For sure. I have two things to say about it. Because there's been a lot of people saying things like they feel like it's unfair, the way that we chose to do things. And, if you feel that way, you're completely entitled to your own feelings. We won't say that they're wrong or right or anything, but I will say two things. One, EMP has stayed successful while a lot of other DeFi protocols have crumbled around us because we have been willing to pivot. We've been willing to continue to pivot in order to stay alive, in order to keep building, in order to keep growing so that we can all continue to earn money. Now, not only are we pivoting, we're launching something completely revolutionary. Now, if we had chosen to just keep things exactly the same as they were, there's a really good chance that we would have never, ever again hit 1.1. So it's actually the most fair thing that we could possibly do. It's beyond fair. It's an incredible bonus for sacrificing and sacrificing early, because there's a chance that you may never have been able to redeem those bonds. And if you bought bonds, I'm trusting that you're an incredible actor in this system, and we want to reward you, and that's why we're redeeming them at 1-to-1 value a peg. Second thing is, when we get to 1.1, it will be because of fusion. So of course, it makes sense to do it this way. So that's all I have to say about that. But I know Vino wants to come on and say something about bonds, so let's give him the floor for a sec.
All right, awesome. He did make it. Vino, are you there, brother?
I am. What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. Good, man. So, yeah, I was talking about you earlier. I don't know how long you've been here, but I'm going to give you the floor. I know I asked you to go over all the math that you did, but I get it. It could be another hour-long AMA here. So maybe just not only maybe go over bonds or whatever you wanted to say, but also, if you don't mind, just giving a high-level overview of how much really less EMP and ESHARE there will be in circulation after all this as well. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Oh God, I could go on for hours about the benefits of fusion, just based off what I've read. But I'll touch on bonds first. I really like if you've been a long time bondholder, and I agree with everything that you guys have said so far, especially moving into fusion. If your argument as to whether or not you should have bought bonds or kept it liquid to farm with, I really see that as a null argument, because there's really been no aspect of EMP in the last 8 months while under peg where you could have earned enough to outweigh the benefit that you're getting now to sacrifice your bonds. Because I think at most you're looking at 75% APR, whereas buying EMP now and sacrificing or just using your bonds, you're actually getting a 295% return back to peg. So in my opinion, that's just mathematically, it's kind of a moot point. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not. But that's just me thinking out loud, because I bought bonds a long time back, and I said the same thing. I said, well, I could be earning on this. But retrospectively, I'm sitting here looking at the opportunity at hand. It's like, well, I'm still getting a better deal now, even after holding bonds that entire time. So I don't know if you agree with that again, or if you have anything to add to that, but that's kind of where my head was at.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, everything in DeFi, and really in TriFi as well, traditional finance, everything is an opportunity cost. So, yeah, maybe, if you make all the right moves, could you have maybe made another 10%, not going into bonds or going into another part of the protocol? I mean, yes, but you can't, play your investment career as an armchair quarterback or in hindsight. And yeah, to your point, Vino, I mean, yes, we're giving you instant value. It's basically instant value on bonds, which is more than fair in my opinion. Again, like Ellis said, everybody's entitled to your opinion, and if you feel like you have been wronged, I am more than happy to hear anybody out that says that. But the math alone says that you're getting more than fairly compensated for bonds, and it's immediate. You don't have to wait, another year, 2 years, whatever it might have been with the old system, to be able to redeem. So yeah, 100%.
Right on, right on. And you said something about I did post it in general chat, but if you want me to break that down a little bit, make it maybe a little little more digestible, I can.
Yeah, brother, no doubt. I know. Again, I don't want to have you go and do a whole nother hour of a explanation, but really just, and I didn't realize that you did post it in general. We'll make sure that we pin that on Discord as well. But yeah, I mean, basically just the high level overview of how much EMP and how much ESHARE is actually taken out of circulation, with fusion.
Yeah, okay. Day one, right? If we read the white paper, we know that detonator and nodes, those are essentially hard locked into fusion, where they were locked before, but now it's actually removing the sell pressure off the market. So the nodes have about 6 million EMP locked in them, and whatever users claim, there's no opportunity to sell. All that does is it goes into building a user's microgrid. And there's only 53 million EMP in circulation. So if you subtract that, you're already under 57 million roughly. And then if you were to use the detonator and to couple that in there, since you can't pull any, it's not liquid, it's going into your microgrid, there's 21,000 EMP ETH LP, and half of that's EMP and the other half is ETH. So that's another 2 million locked from selling right out of the gate. So day one, you've instantly removed, what is that, 2 million and 6 million, 8 million EMP from circulation, essentially, right? It's still counted in circulation, but it's illiquid. And I think that that's really bullish for the future of EMP because, and I don't know if it was covered earlier or not, but any LP that gets sacrificed, I believe, is going to be getting split and then used to buy EMP. So we not only have a reduction of native EMP tokens from circulation being able to be sold, but we also have constant buy pressure on EMP through Detonator and the other DAASs as well. And we already covered E-bonds. I see a high amount of people sacrificing E-bonds, so that's going to remove some more EMP from circulation. And then we've got buy pressure from all the other DAASs. I just really think that, if you sit down and you run the numbers, over time, the people that fud themselves out of this ecosystem, the EMP that's available to them to buy on PancakeSwap through these what do you call them, guardrails, through these guardrails, it's just going to be an exponential curve up towards PEG. And I kind of want to say that I feel sorry for anybody that doesn't get it. I know it's 15 pages of white papers, a lot to digest, especially what's been rolling out here recently. But in my opinion, everything that's built around Fusion is to go towards the sustainability of Fusion. And it's essentially trying to help everybody within the ecosystem earn more than they're doing so now. And this is just buy pressure and EMP being taken off the market. That's not even taking into account the potential buyback and actual burns being sent to a dead address from the team, or maybe something in the future through the marketplace.
For sure. I love it, absolutely, brother. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that doesn't account for any EMP that might have been in wallets that people had sacrificed or you forget your private keys. I mean, there's a ton of variables that put a lot less in circulation than what is shown. And again, I mean, like to Davino's point, simply burning a token that really doesn't have a lot of price value. But if you're buying and burning, that is where prices can moon. And not only would that be the case with EMP, we did mention that earlier, by the way, that the plan is to take at least a portion of the ETH from the LP to buy EMP as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, all of that is in the works, and the same thing applies for eShare. So again, I don't want to keep Vino too long, but based on what we've seen, there could be even less circulating eShare than there is now, even though eShare is inflationary on a halving model. After this year, the eShare inflation is reduced by half every subsequent year. And again, I mean, just to give some examples, even Dex Finance, we love Dex Finance. They're amazing. They've been killing it. Their share token has been on a killer run up, but they have 100,000 share tokens in circulation. And usually, again, that's about standard, anywhere from 75 to 100,000 share tokens. Over the next 10 years, even with the inflationary halving model, just like Bitcoin would have, I mean, we're going to be way less than 100,000 eShare. So, and that again doesn't include any potential burning. I mean, we very well may implement, maybe a 0.5% of that 3% marketplace fee, maybe 0.5% or 0.1% goes to literally just burning the eShare. I mean, if we did that and the volume that the marketplace is going to do, that could make eShare extremely deflationary. And so what that means is your eShare, yes, you may be getting less energy or eShare in rewards, but the energy or eShare is worth, way more in terms of dollar value. So again, you just got to understand how those economics work. And I mean, over the next 5-10 years, we could see new all-time highs on eShare, which is unbelievable to think about as we reduce the supply over time. So, yeah, all right, awesome stuff. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your input. Anything else you wanted to add, or?
No, I actually glossed over the eShare. I didn't even mention it, but yeah. Long story short, the if even 30% of the people pulled their eShare out of the single-sided staking pool and sacrifice that for energy or to build their microgrid, which would also cause buy pressure on EMP, that's 7,400 eShare going directly into Fusion, being removed from circulation. So, and that's not even counting the 2,000 eShare in the reactor. So from that, you've already removed 20% of eShare liquid being able to be traded on PancakeSwap. So I'm excited for the future and I'm ready for it.
I love it, bro. Thank you, Vino, for doing the math and jumping on. And again, I mean, that's where I say I think a lot of people get flooded out of their own bags. They look at the chat, they do absolutely no research. They read the white paper once, they get overwhelmed, and they say, screw this, But if you actually take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour to read the white paper more than once, do the actual math again that Vino just went over in terms of reducing the supply and what that really means. I mean, it's all baked in. I mean, everything that we're saying, it's not made up. It's just based on numbers. And so again, I hope some of you can start to have an open mind and really, conceptualize what we're doing with Fusion. And again, this is the tip of the iceberg. It hasn't even been a week since we released the white paper. We're going to have videos, we're going to have walkthroughs, we're going to have tutorials, we're going to have everything that you could possibly ever want to learn how to be involved in Fusion. It will be coming. We're just all so early to the party in doing this. And one last thing in LA, I think we're going to cut it off there. But I did want to address one last thing I kept seeing in the YouTuber chat about changing the rules. So again, I'm going to try to answer without getting frustrated, but nothing has fundamentally changed in the way again all of our contracts operate. I mean, yes. Are we getting rid of the boardroom? Absolutely. But are we allowing people to profit even more than what the boardroom was happening originally? Absolutely. I think there's a big difference when you're changing the rules to, reduce payouts and overall, hurt the protocol. And the difference is changing the rules to help make a better system. And any good business changes the rules. I mean, if Apple just continued to produce iPods forever, I mean, see where they would be. Now they've transitioned into actual Apple smartphones that have, an iPod built into it. So every good business over time will pivot and change. And again, change the rules. I guess you could say it like that. And I think the comment was specifically geared towards Detonator. I want everybody to hear what I'm saying. You are, again, you're able to cash out in Detonator. We're not changing the rules in terms of cashing out of Detonator. If anything, we're trying to, again, allow the pool balance to go up and actually make more money through your daily burst, as well as peg recovery, ESHARE going up in price, all the above. But even if you were in the same boat that you are now, you didn't want us to change the rules of anything, you can still claim your LP into the microgrid, or into the central grid, earn energy in your microgrid, and then use that to again cash out into either any asset you would want, ETH, USD, anything, or just sell your microgrid. So there in no situation are you getting less than what you would be getting right now if we decided to, just not change anything. So again, I just want to make that perfectly clear. And yeah, anything you want to add to that, Cody or LA, or any final words or thoughts or anything we went over that you want to clarify? Go ahead.
Sure. In the response to questions like that, you kind of have to, you almost have to look at the reasoning as to why they're stating what they're stating, like changing rules or getting frustrated or something like that. Are they here for a pump and dump type of protocol, which is not EMP by any means, right? You got to look at it. Are they the ones taking advantage of the system? And because we're shutting down their way to exploit and drain it for everybody else, is that why they're saying what they're saying? So I agree with you 100%. Like, you need to do your own research, and we've made it 100% possible that if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. Like you were saying, you can still cash out of the detonator. You can sell your position. Even with the sacrifice, there's been tons of projects that I've been in where you've had to quote unquote sacrifice to the V2 version, and you only get a 1-to-1 ratio. And in some cases you get less, right? Because they're moving to a different type of tokenomics behind it. And as a result, I can see a lot of people getting frustrated there. But in my opinion, where we're coming in and we're putting in bonuses on top of that, just shows how bullish the whole EMP team is about where we're going, and in essence, kind of putting our money where our mouth is of where it's going to go. And those people that don't care to listen, that's on them. That's their thing. And it just boils down to being rock solid in what's going to work for you as an investor moving forward. And if you see the vision, you see the fusion, right? And the other ones that don't, we'll welcome you back when you're ready to come back.
I love it, Cody. Man, I could not have said it better myself. And yeah, to Cody's point, I've made a multi-million-dollar portfolio in crypto, and I have never let somebody else FUD me out of my own bags. And you have to absolutely consider where the criticism is coming from. Maybe it is a bad actor. Maybe it's a whale that wants to get EMP to dump so they can just buy more of it at an even cheaper price. And the sad reality is the same people that are concerned about fusion or are selling now, they are going to be buying back at 10 times the price when fusion is absolutely everything that we said it would be. And the APRs are higher than they are now, dramatically is what we're hoping for. And once all that happens, again, they're going to have already missed the boat and are buying at way higher than what they would have if they just would have stuck with it. And again, I mean, we pride ourselves on the security here. We've never had an exploit 100% uptime. We may not be the 1% a day or, the sexiest APR out there, but you can wake up knowing, that the protocol is not going to just disappear. And there's a lot to be said for that, especially in the current landscape that we're in. So, and again, with what Fusion offers, the revenue that we're going to be getting from Fusion itself, our treasury investments, building the L1X DEX, and what that will generate. I mean, there could be massive inflow of real revenue. And again, this isn't even accounting for new users that will be paying out every single minute of every single day as long as you're part of Fusion. So don't miss out. Don't be that guy or gal that could have been here on the ground floor and chose not to, just simply because somebody said something or they didn't do their research or you didn't fully understand Fusion. Ask questions. We're all here to help. I mean, even the team members are 100% available and answering questions. What other protocol does that? I mean, again, I can say not many. So anyway, I hope all of you had a great overview today. Again, I know it was a long one, and we only got to what, LA? You think probably half of the questions? Not even
Well,
for next.
I would have said
Yeah, go
2/3,
ahead.
but then since we've been on the AMA, there's been like 30 more added. So
All right,
um,
awesome. Well, yeah, and go ahead.
we
What are you going
will
to add to
we
that
will
too, LA? Yeah.
continuously have a running list. The only thing that I have to say is just a big smile on my face. As much as there was some serious negativity from a few people tonight, there are some of the most badass, amazing people in this community who have just written some comments of so much excitement, so much enthusiasm, so much gratitude for where we're going, what we're building. So if that was you, one of you, thank you for shining your light on all of us, because positivity spreads positivity. We love your energy. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here with us. We love you. You're important. Keep showing up.
I love it, LA. Yes, totally. And I know that we always talk about positivity here, but it's true. I mean, as a team, like we want to deliver, and we it makes us want to work harder. When we do get some positive reinforcement. And again, that's not to say we don't want people giving criticism. I mean, again, I think not to keep comparing us to other protocols, but we are one of the very few protocols that does actually listen. And, a lot of you that have had some great suggestions, we have actually built it into the protocol. So please don't understand that we, want it to be all, fairy tales and rose colored glasses. But to LA's point, positivity goes a long way. We want this journey to be fun. I know, again, we have the best community in crypto. I've said that from day one, and it's proven over and over again. And there is no reason whatsoever that Fusion cannot be as successful, if not more successful, than we could ever imagine it to be. So, just again, thanks to everybody for their patience. Please help educate others now that you've heard another, almost 2.5 hours of explanation around Fusion. If you see somebody asking questions, feel free to help educate them. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna just continue this. we'll do the next AMA will be this Thursday. Again, Mondays and Thursdays at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. The next AMA will be solely dedicated to questions. So just like we did today, we'll give some updates at the beginning, and then we'll do at least an hour of only questions. And hopefully, again, by the following Monday, I'll have a better update on when Sacrifice will be live, and other info that we can actually start planning around. Battery values, actual equations, everything that we need to have. So, all right, awesome. I think that was another great AMA as usual. Really appreciate all of
Love
you.
it.
And yeah, I think we're getting there slowly but surely. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah. Go
tell
ahead, Ella.
people are jazzed up because some things have been moving up while we've been on here. So
All right, I love it. There you go.
Yeah, you care if I say one more thing real quick before you sign off here?
Yeah, if you know, please, brother. I didn't know you were still here. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, no, this will be really quick. My parting comment is that currently EMP is 195% from pegging. So if you buy EMP or you buy bonds or you buy LP to SAC whenever the sacrifice phase is live, you're getting at least a 200% return per dollar in sacrifice points. And I'll leave it at that.
I love it. That's a great way to end it, brother. And again, that is 100% true. And again, even if you wanted to eventually just cash that out, you could do that by just selling your microgrid. So, and that just means more rewards for all of us that are still in there. So, all right, thanks, Vino. Awesome. Cody, thank you, brother. As always, a pleasure to have you. Great insights. And LA, again, glad to have you back from traveling. And we're gonna again spend the next as long as it takes getting people comfortable with fusion and what this all means for all of us. So, all right, thanks everybody. Good night, good day. We'll see you on Thursday.